In long history of F1, precisely 75 years of it, we saw a lot of this. Team or a single driver dominating the season, with everybody hopes of close and tense racing being shattered after only few races. But every once in a while, we witness something that make us remember why we fell in love with the Octane Circus in first place. Don't get me wrong, I love F1 for various reasons. Technicality, strategy, but let's be honest, two of champion contenders racing in a wheel-to-wheel battle is why we are here for. So, is this the year? What gives us a reason to be hyped? McLaren. McLaren raced from a bottom team to a constructor champion in 2025, proving that with good management, strong leadership, and fast drivers, tables can turn pretty quickly. After all, we're talking about sport where thousands of seconds does matter. So winglets here and there could make all the differences. With Lando experiencing the sweet taste of the victory, his appetite grew with the team improvement. Is he going to be ready for it? Last season, it seems like Lando himself wasn't aware that he is in the fight. Like being the champion contender caught him by surprise. Was winter break what he needed to sort his priorities right? Or will he stick to the papaya rules, being the nice guy? Is he ready to put his elbows out when those hungry for success start to attack? I have a sense that this season he'll set a bar that bit higher from a get-go. Piastri proved himself as a team player as well. Cool, calm, collected. It's gonna be interesting to see, is he going to fall in the realm of a second driver? Is he new Bottas and Perez? Or, with the new contract being announced, will he have confidence to ruin Lando plans? Ferrari. So, if you have been living under the rock, or in coma for the past year, let me tell you the news.
The 7-time World Drivers' Champion
Lewis
Lewis Hamilton
will make a stunning switch to Ferrari.
Sir Lewis Hamilton has changed his address from Germany to Italy, somewhat like this guy. 6, 7, 8-time world champion, depend on your stance, has moved to Maranello. Will this cooperation lead to more trophies? Well, it could be that media made us all believe Hamilton is in play. Hamilton certainly knows how to win. A lot. In 356 appearances, he stood record-breaking 105 times on top step of the podium. So two things are undeniable: talent and experience. But with experience, there is a downside: age. Hamilton is now 40 years old. Are his reflexes still pitch perfect, his eyesight as good as ever, and his desire to win big as before? Only he knows. Although, new colors could be what he needs for motivation, if being the only 8-time world champion isn't enough. Motivation is important, but every true, read objective fan of F1 knows there is a far greater force in shaping champions. Is the team and the car they build. Can Ferrari deliver what it takes in terms of bolide and strategy? Like Hamilton himself, Ferrari knows how to win. And yet, even though Ferrari finished second in Constructors' Championship last year, there wasn't actually any sign of true domination from Scuderia. In Australia, Sainz and Leclerc finished 1-2. But one could argue that by that time McLaren haven't brought their upgrades yet, with Max, Lewis and George not finishing race due to DNF. On home soil in Monaco GP, Charles pulled up something special in quali to secure pole position. And if you ever win from pole, my bet is on Monte Carlo. If rumors are true, Ferrari tweaked their engine that bit higher to win in Italy. So they did. In Austin, Leclerc and Sainz utilized on Verstappen and Lando's scrap to bring another 1-2, which was repeated in Mexico by Sainz. Again, mostly with Lando and Max being busy dealing with each other. Not to take any from that wins, they were fair and square. But you see the pattern. Never was Ferrari dominant car which Hamilton once had with Mercedes. It was mostly third fastest, and with Perez not in the form, Ferrari had that much more points to score. So, can Lewis do it without the dominant car? Last season Hamilton finished only 7th, but with bombshell announcement at the start of the year, total focus switched to the Russell and Kimi Antonelli, while for Hamilton it was more of a waiting game. Maybe more important is what we saw in 2023. Lewis finished third behind dominant Red Bull, driving underperforming car, and maybe proved that he had what it takes to win championship in close competition. Without the Bono and the new voice of Riccardo Adami in his ears, Paul King will have to dig deep to find something special. Then there is this man, undoubtedly fast, maybe more than ever eager to prove his worth against one of the greats. He has the advantage of knowing the team and the car. How quickly can Hamilton adapt? Will Leclerc become next Nico Rosberg? He surely doesn't miss the speed. Is yet to see if he learned how to be consistent. Mercedes. I won't speak too much about them. I just don't see George as a title contender. At least not with the car they had the last season, nor in general. And Kimi Antonelli, although interesting prospect, it's hard to believe he will surpass the debut season of the man he is replacing, Red Bull. It's not all about improving yourself. It's also about making your opponents weaker. Everybody knew Adrian Newey was a big part of Red Bull's success, but very few could predict that from achieving 10 wins in a row, Max would go to the 10 races without a win in 2024. Did Newey departure hit them so hard, or others grew that fast? Was a combination of both. Anyhow, people forget that Red Bull is here to win, and nothing less. At the end of 2024, we saw indications that they are still pretty much in the play. We can't talk about Red Bull without mentioning Max. Love him or hate him, Max is the definition of a champ. Raw speed, determination, focus, and precision. So there are a few variables that could play into Max's hand. First, if competition is going to be as close as anticipated, no one should separate from the rest of the pack. And if we see likes of Norris, Charles, and others repeat the same mistakes they did before, that could be an edge leaning towards Max. Other than crashes with competition, it's hard to remember last time Max lost control and end up in the wall or gravel. That way, I'm sure he'll collect whatever points there is. Second, even though they lost some of valuable team members, Red Bull, at least for me, has the best strategy game. Third, Liam Lawson. If he simply does better than Checo last year, he could come handy for Max in terms of pit stop strategy, DRS, and protecting him when crucial. So, my prediction is that if he does win 5th consecutive championship this year, it could be with the least amount of victories than ever. Aston Martin. In 2023, Fernando gave us hope that our favorite rookie is ready for a big thing. Racecraft, he doesn't lack. Don't get too close or he gonna break. Aston Martin certainly doesn't lack money and wind tunnel time. Everything is said about Adrian Newey. The only question is, are they gonna strictly focus on 2026? Or could they surprise us once again later in the season? And yeah, one more thing. If there is one guy who can once and for all prove us that it's so much more about car than driver, is Lance Stroll. I get he is owner's son, but let's be realistic. F1 is an expensive sport to get into. And question is, how many of current drivers would even be here if world was a fair place? Alpine, Kick Sauber, Williams, and Racing Bulls could add up a spark of drama in the midfield battle. Or, like McLaren, be surprise of the season. After first two practice sessions, maybe it's too early to tell, but it looks like Williams and Racing Bulls are one to look out for.